In this video, I am going to explain Pythagoras theory in very clear terms. Pythagoras theory is a very simple thing that we use in so many calculations. So it is expected that you understand Pythagoras theory because we use it in calculations that involve, for instance, when we are doing vectors, orthogonal vectors, that is vector in right angle direction, we use Pythagoras theory. When we are solving questions on circle geometry, we use Pythagoras theory. Sometimes even in isosceles triangles where you have to look for one side of the triangle, we use Pythagoras theory. Pythagoras theory is even used by civil engineers to know the diagonal or maybe one part of the kind of portion of the land. They use it to determine some of the sides. So it is very important for us to know what Pythagoras theory is all about. Actually, like what you can see on the board, Pythagoras theory, we use Pythagoras theory for right angle triangle. For right angle triangle, we look for one side when the other two sides of the triangles are given. That is what it's all about. Pythagoras theory is not used for any kind of triangle. We have different kind of triangles like we have the scaling triangle, we have we have these other triangles like equilateral triangles and all the likes. There are so many triangles. Anyone that we cannot break into this form where we now have 90 degrees as one of the triangles. Sometimes we can break equilateral triangle to have a right angle triangle in it. We can equally use Pythagoras theory there. But if the triangle is not having any right angle triangle, it's not possible for you to use Pythagoras theory in that kind of triangle. So you zero out your mind from using Pythagoras theory where you don't have a right angle triangle. You must see a right angle there. This symbol there is a right angle. This means 90 degrees. So if you don't find it in your triangle, you don't dare to think about Pythagoras theory. And what does it state? I will state it in terms here, not just in formula, since we already have it there on the board. What you are having here is the square of the longest side of the triangle. The square of the longest side of the triangle. That is what we call the hypotenuse. The square of the longest side of the triangle, which you are seeing there in my representation here, x is standing for that longest side. The square is equal to the sum of the squares of other two sides. Is equal to the sum, the addition, sum of the squares of the other two sides. The square of z, the square of y, the sum, the addition of the square of the other two sides. You must always put it in this form so that you will know whether you just need to continue like this, like you can see my first example here. I don't need to look for x is directly what I'm looking for. X squared, which is the longest side, is what I'm looking for. So you can see addition. Some people, they don't know when to minus, when to subtract. You will see another example that will teach you when you need to subtract. But this one is just clearly the way it is. Don't forget, it has a standard. The standard is that the square of the longest side is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. The sum, the other two sides. 4 square, then 3 square. When we add it, you see what we arrive at. S square is equal to 25. Then going by our indices equation, initial equation, I have that in my video. If you care to know what has happened here, I've explained that in my video before. S squared equal to 25. When we are looking for x becomes the square root of 25. And we all know that the square root of 25 is actually 5. That is the number that can multiply itself 2 times that will give you 25. I have this in my video before. That is for that question. Let me go to example 2. You can see in this example 2, what you are having here is that we are not looking for the longest side in this case. We see that we are looking for other side of the triangle. But we still put it in the way the formula, the law is talking about, the way the law is actually how it was structured. The law states that the square of the longest side, which you are seeing, which is 10 in this case, is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides, y squared plus 8 squared. And when we do this like this, we are looking for y, don't forget. We are going to collect like terms, meaning that we are carrying number, the unknown will be on one side. If you don't have knowledge of this, go to my equation of motion. My simple equations rather, not the equation of motion, sorry about that. My equation, simple equations, I have the video on that also. That will teach you what to do when you are carrying from one side to the other. So what happened there is that when you are carrying to this other side, it becomes minus because we are carrying this 8 squared to this other side of the equation. So it becomes minus plus here, it becomes minus. And when we do that, you can rearrange this. What you are having here on the board is the same thing with what you are having here. So the y square is not equal to the same thing because 10 square is 100, 8 square is 64. Writing it like this, if I write 100 minus 64 equal to y square, it's the same thing as y square equal to 100 minus 64. And for what you can see there on the board, we've gotten 36. We've gotten 36. Then y square equal to 36. Following what we have been doing, it is going to be square root on the other side. And square root of 36 is actually 6. It is this simple. What you must not forget is that you must know how to write it the way the law is presented. The law says that the square of the longest side is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. Whatever question you are asked, you cannot determine it following your normal simple equation, following it the way it should be. If it demands you taking to the other side where it does not involve minus, you will know. Like in this case, we don't need it here. That is why it's like that. So it's simple. This is Pythagoras theorem. Please, you need to know this one very well as you are having a building law, a building process in mathematics. If you don't know this before, it's part of some of the things that make people find physics difficult and many similar subjects as well. So this one is just a foundation that you also need. If you care to know more about other tips in mathematics, you follow me on my page. You will get more tips on those elementary foundations you need to know in mathematics. I'm there for you. Thank you very much.